Hello, this is Jason Moss with the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance and Manufacturing News Network. We've got a really great conversation going today with Kim Falkenhayn, and she is the president of Okabashi. And Okabashi is a shoe manufacturer here in Georgia. They have been a member of GMA for several years and a great supporter and friend. We've toured their facility a few times, and I tell you, I'm just really impressed with what Kim and her team do here in Georgia in manufacturing. Their facility is top notch, and their production is unbelievable. You've seen some of their products on shelves in stores, I'm sure. But the reason that I wanted to bring Kim on is there's two things that we're going to cover today. Manufacturing community as a whole. But when we talked earlier, you'd sent me an email and said, hey, these are some of the capabilities we have. We've got some great people. We've got some resources. How can we put this to play to help combat the coronavirus, right? Today, actually 2 days ago, President Trump signed an emergency declaration which allowed the federal government to be able to mandate what goes on in manufacturing, and and if they need to use any of the resources, that's an option now. But what we're going to do is very proactively, our goal is to identify companies that have available capacities. If you've got facilities, if you've got square foot in warehouse space, if you've got anything that we can do on assembly lines, if you've got materials and supplies, and again, thank you for helping do the research on the front end and get these pieces set together. But what we needed as an organization is we needed somebody to kind of help us run the project, and so thank you again in advance for your support and help put this thing together. And share with me a little bit about what your thoughts are. Is what can manufacturers do, and what do we need to be putting in place to step up to the challenge that we face as a nation?
So I think that Okabashi, like a lot of manufacturers, we're seeing a little bit of soft demand right now from our usual customers for very valid reasons. Right. And we're looking around and saying, my gosh, we've got all this equipment, we've got trained personnel. What can we do? Because if we come together as a nation, as a state, as a nation, and work together to try to combat everything going on with coronavirus, we will hope to tamp it down and lessen the impact, shorten the amount of time that we have to have shelter-in-place orders, or even just general quarantine, keeping people at home and so forth. We want to end this as soon as we can so we can get back to business as usual. Don't we all wish that we could rewind a couple of months back to when we had a whole different set of problems? But I'm starting to ask myself, what can we do? I don't know what I can do. I'm looking at the list of medical necessities that they're asking for and thinking to myself, well, can I make any of these things? Can I make components for these things? How do we stitch together the supply chain domestically here? How do we understand what the needs are for different components? And that's really why I reached out, was because I'm struggling for our company to understand it. And I'm hearing that from a lot of colleagues and people in other industries. They want to help. They have these open resources. They've got the trained people who don't have enough work right now, this week, next week. How can we help in a very immediate need? And how can we help those frontline workers and make sure that our medical staff, the people who are driving the delivery trucks, the people who are stocking the shelves at grocery stores and making sure the pharmacies are continuing to run, these are the people that we absolutely have to have in the coming weeks. And we need to make sure that they're safe and that they're protected and they're supported. So we want to come together as the manufacturing industry and understand how we can support and help them. And we don't have all the answers yet, but if we get a lot of great heads together and we work together, I think we can do it.
Yeah,
I know we can do it.
Yeah, I'm convinced that we can, and we do need to have I believe we need to have a central place where we can pull all these resources together. So what we've done is we're taking the lead on this thing, and we've put together manufacturingtaskforce.com. Now, Manufacturing Task Force, I'm gonna toggle over to that just a second here. This will give you an idea. This, again, is unbelievably fluid. This will not look like this in probably 30 minutes. So be prepared if the page doesn't look exactly like this. This is just a foundation. So when you come to Manufacturing Task Force, it's an embedded page on our website because that allows us quick ease to change and make any modifications. On this page, what we're going to do is any updates and notifications. I will embed this call on the top of this page most likely. So this will help explain what's going on with the Manufacturing Task Force. And this is truly, it's just a resource. It's a single point of collection for information. And, you can gather a bazillion data points in your manufacturing company, but really the ones that you need are the ones that are most important, and you can get, shuck them down to just a handful. And so what we're asking is, if you're a manufacturer and you have capabilities or capacities that you are willing to commit to help combat the coronavirus in America, we want you to share that information with us. Send us by email, and we maybe even develop a little form to put on here so you'll have an idea. But send us your company name, phone number, email. Again, look back to this page because most likely there'll be an email spreadsheet sample or thing that you can fill out. We may even have a form online, as this unfolds. But we need you to tell us who you are, where you're located, what type of of available labor, trained labor that you've got. What type of equipment do you have? Do you have mills and lathes? Can you, like our friends there at Okabashi, can you do injection molding? Do you have assembly line capabilities? Do you have, so labor, equipment, materials, or facilities? Because I know that there's going to be a lot of need for possibly storing materials in transition. So any of those things that you feel will be beneficial or that you're willing to pledge to, again, to help deal with the coronavirus in America. Now, there's not one penny in this for Kim or myself. I mean, this is a community service. Our goal is to just find out what's out there, find the need, and fill it. I know we got really, really smart people that are listening to this call and in our communities, and we just want to give them, right now, a lot of them got some pent up challenges trying to figure out how they can help. And now we're going to just, this is a vehicle, this is a way that we're addressing that. So Kim has actually developed and provided a list from the governor's office of items that are in immediate need today. So if your company has access to, just tell us, if you've got, negative pressure machines, if you've got ventilators, if you've got some of these N95 masks or equivalent, if you've got a store of those, all you have to do is just send that to us an email. We're compiling the list and we're going to present it to the teams that, the appropriate teams in the government that will make sure that this gets distributed to the right people. Again, we're not going to be touching it. We're not going to be managing it. All we're doing is we're gathering the data, and we'll make sure that the right people get in touch with you about making sure that, again, the materials and supplies get connected, and the capabilities and again, help us understand what machines and machine capabilities you have, because there's a variety. I've had quite a few interesting phone calls about different ways that companies are looking at combating coronavirus. If some of this stuff gets approved, we will need people that can build machines immediately, that have sheet metal capabilities, powder coat capabilities, that can that can do assemblies. There's some really neat technology that's coming to the table that, if it works and if it gets approved, it'll be much like the World War II effort, where the factories are automatically turned over into manufacturing firearms and tanks and planes, right? So we need to know what we're doing right now. We're just in a gathering mode. We're just gathering the data so that if and when something comes down the pipe that manufacturers can have a direct impact on, we'll know what resources that we've got that we can reach out to. So if you've got any of these things, if you want to be part of this, we just want you to send us an email. We do have we've got an all call, basically a manufacturing town hall. Let me show you where that's at. So once you get to, if you go to manufacturingtaskforce.com, you'll land on this page. This is our Georgia Manufacturing Alliance page. This is not just restricted to just Georgia manufacturers. Any manufacturer across the nation, if you've got information, send it to us and we'll compile it and make sure it gets in the right hands. but we serve, excuse me, primarily the manufacturing space. I mean, primarily Georgia. So this is where our core folks are at. So I've been talking on interviews all day today, so bear with me here. It's not the corona, it's just a dry throat. But but we have a list of upcoming events, and on this page, you'll see that we have a virtual town hall on Monday at 10 o'clock. This is open to anybody that's interested in hearing the latest news in manufacturing. The task force, which is what we're talking about now, this is really restricted and focused on manufacturers that have capabilities that they're willing to commit to this program, right? We have 6 roundtables that are basically, it's a subscription to be able to access these roundtables. It's going to be a lot smaller, intimate groups. There's some information on the page on that. But the 2 things that you're most interested in is the manufacturing virtual town hall, and we've got key players that'll be sharing, the latest news, best practices, and then this task force where we're going to be pulling all the pieces together. So those 2 on Monday, and then we've got some other resources that, again, they'll be available soon, as we sort of go through that. But so this was the game plan for the day. We wanted to make sure that this call, we shared the information, the strategies that we've got lined up to be able to continue to support the defeat of the coronavirus here in the U.S. So, Kim, I wanted to open it up, and then again, I want to tell you how much I appreciate your leadership and your commitment and your volunteering for not only yourself but for your company to step up like you do. That it speaks volumes. What do you have? Do you have anything else you'd like to share? Kind of give us some.
I know these are really times. I know things are difficult, and we just are having to take it day by day. But our overarching goal needs to be just to beat this and to make sure that we preserve our infrastructure and we're ready to hit the ground running and land on our feet when we're able to get back to kind of business as normal. So it's a labor of love to me to bring manufacturing back to the United States, like as I kind of opened the call with. Yeah. And so that doesn't change. And even in here, I think that it's really, really difficult to see our supply chain struggling so much, but I do really hope that there are some lessons that we can bring back there and try to reshore things, try to make sure that we're stronger, that we come back stronger and with just a stronger foundation overall, so that we don't have so much susceptibility to disruptions of a month or a week even in our supply chain. So let's all try to focus on how we can help in this immediate term, but then also make sure our foundations are stronger going forward.
That's perfect. And I believe, that it's critical that the 3 things we need to focus on is need to make sure that we have information. We got to make sure that we have communication and relationships. Those 3 things, I believe, are critical in these trying times. The information we have, we need to make sure that it's accurate information. Qualify the source every time. Figure out where that information is coming from. Filter through that as best you can. Where there's plenty of information out there. Don't spend too much time on social media or on the news, but you need to be informed. The other piece is communication. I believe that, again, communicating with each other internally in your company, make sure your folks know where you're at. I mean, I believe the more you're able to do that, the better it is for your entire team. And then relationships. We're going to lean on the relationships that we have and have cultivated for years, but also we're going to have an opportunity to make a lot of new relationships too. I mean, there'll be a lot of good that will come from this, but we got to keep the mindset of not worrying about what we can't do. Let's focus on what we can do. Let's figure out how we can work together as a community like we never have before to be able to come through this quickly, because I think that's what all of us are looking for. So
absolutely.
Kim, thank you again so much for your participation, your support. You're leading the charge and helping us get this task force together and up and running. And we're looking forward to getting on the other side of this thing and enjoying some brighter days.
Absolutely. Let's hope it's over soon.
Yeah, be sure you go register now at manufacturingtaskforce.com. Register for the event. There's no cost or anything, but if you've got capabilities and capacity you want to do and you want to sit in on that, email that information to us and then register online at manufacturingtaskforce.com, or Manufacturing News Network gives you all the overview of all the things that we've provided as far as resources. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys on the next call.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye.